tell you what I don't miss, and it's bad on my nervous system, is that right there. Anyway, when I started driving, I didn't drive for 11 months. It's a joke what happened. It's kind of funny. And I started laughing at the police officer. And he understood what I was saying. It's a long story. I'll have to write a article on it. But seriously, that's bad on your nervous system. And that's what happens in PTSD is your body gets locked with everything. And thank God I had ChatGPT to research that. But you got to be rhythmic with everything, and that's bad for your rhythm right there. You're constantly going, you're pissed off. Everybody's mad, People honking and whatnot. It's going to be like New York. Sorry, New York. It's the truth. But at any rate, I told the therapist Jessica that I was working with that I did start working with a therapist. But it was kind of just confirming, going over some of the fundamentals that I learned. When I went back to Randy, I'm very thankful to her because we did have some overlap and some struggles that I was having negatively, and he did. You need to make a decision and be happy with your decision, right? And that's very important in everything that you do. But anyway, I worked with him for a couple more times. I just adore him. He's a nice guy, and she's great too. But I did pretty much 99.99% of it. But you have to just on your own anyway. You have to employ the practice in order to recover. And I had a lot of help along the way. A lot of people inspired me, including I just got off the phone with, not got off the phone, I got off LinkedIn with my two-time All-American college teammate Chris Wilkins at Presbyterian College. But I told Jessica, I said, I'm just gonna not drive a car until I get totally through this. And until recently, in the last couple of weeks, I don't need one. I tell people all the time, Atlanta, we live in the best city in the world for mental health, and if you're in one of those, we're the worst city. I mean, it's really the truth. Anything that creates tension is bad for PTSD, and the mind definitely you've got to really work on it, and to get out of it. And it just doesn't happen with a switch. No pill's going to do it. The only pill that's going to do it is actually walking and exercise. And my neurologist that I just adore, he's going to retire, and I need to call him and thank him again. Hopefully, he may be at a speaking engagement with me too. I don't know, but it's very, very, it's very important to understand what it does to you, to your body, and that's why AI was so effective for me. And in a way, to me, it's a great coach. It helped me with learning and helped me figure out that I was dyslexic, and it was perfect for that because it puts everything in bullet points, and that's how dyslexics are really learn. We just see too many things, and it's great for that. It's taught me a lot of things in order to how to chunk it. We learn in chunks, right, for dyslexic, and I truly believe that being dyslexic and being neurodivergent that helped me get through PTSD on my own. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me. The sky's the limit in a couple different things, but I really want to raise awareness for this, and people need to understand it, because you need to support the person. People need to understand you need space, and I get it from both ends, but it's a serious disorder, and it's not understood at all. And any kind of mental health, it really, people need space. You get there's too many things going on, and I think we all agree that the mind can go and can get pretty crazy pretty quick, and that's why it's somatic practices and breathing is so important, and that's just not good right there. And I grew to love to walk, and I can't wait for the to go down there and crank. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow to walk through the soccer, because I walk like Jason Bourne, and being in martial arts and being able to anybody that's ever seen me dance said that I dance better than anybody you've ever seen, and that's the honest to God truth. There's one thing that I can do better than anybody I've ever seen is dance, maybe besides Derek and Jennifer Huff. yes, I do like to watch Dancing with the Stars. And yes, I would definitely go on it for sure. But why are we know? We all know how to dance. But at any rate, it's just very important to understand what things like that, and you have to block the noise out. You cannot listen to other people. Period. You got to listen to your doctors and people that understand this. Unfortunately, there's very few people that truly understand it. And LinkedIn's been great. Connecting with so many people on there right now across America, and even just commenting on law enforcement posts where people are, they're really, really traumatized with it. And I got a new friend, a former FBI agent. I believe he's a former FBI agent. I think, but he did some pretty wild stuff. He didn't tell me any of the deeper stuff, but he kind of told me a surface level. But he was a narcotics police officer, and that's some of the most dangerous stuff on the planet that you can do. Certainly in the city of Atlanta. And what a great guy! And I think he could see it in my body language. And I think a tremendous amount that came from walking and working on myself and confidence. And I haven't asked that specifically, but I don't think he asks I've never seen him, as many times as I've seen him, I've never seen him stop somebody and say what he said to me. And I was carrying a bottle of chocolate milk. He said, "You gonna drink that whole bottle of chocolate milk?" I said, "Maybe. I got PTSD, man." And he said, "Man, I got it too." And I said, "It's crazy." He said, "Man," I said, and then he said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, I've had it for over 20 years." And we sat there and talked for like 15 minutes. And he shared me what an amazing heroic story that I don't think he would share with many people. And literally, my back, I could feel my back rising. I almost reached out and hugged him. But it just didn't feel like I needed to do that. But it's amazing that what he did. Talk about. It's hard to believe that somebody had the courage to do what he did. Absolutely unbelievable. But at any rate, it's neat to be able to connect with people like that understand, and he said, people just don't understand it. And I said, I know. That's the reason why I want to raise awareness for it. It's very, very important thing. We're losing 17 soldiers in the military a day to it, and that one is too many, and that's unfortunate. PTSD costs the American economy $232 billion a year. $232 billion a year. If you take that as an industry, it's the 22nd largest industry in the United States of America. Again, it costs our economy $232 billion a year, and it's the 22nd. It's in a sense the 22nd largest economy in the United States. Industry. 22nd largest industry in the United States of America. I don't know. It's almost a quarter of $1 trillion. Our national debt is I think $21 trillion. So that's 10% of our national debt. Well, I'm sorry, that's not 10%. It is 10%. No, it's not. It's a 1%. That's all about it. But at any rate, that's 1% is. It does not need to be 1% of our national debt. And it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. We're not talking about military. We're talking about everyday people, and people that are traumatized. Trauma is. I don't think people understand what trauma is. You have a life-threatening. I went to the hospital. My blood pressure was 100. I can't remember what it was. Like 185 over. No, I think it was 220 over 1. It was something crazy. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it when he barely, the paramedic barely got me up, and I immediately fell over to my side. And I couldn't believe it when they told me what my blood pressure was. I just was like, I couldn't believe I was alive. I very easily could have been in a wheelchair. And thank God that if I had not have done all these somatic practices or whatever, same thing could have happened, or I could have been very easily dead or in a wheelchair. And that one was completely out of my control, unfortunately. It's just, the biggest thing is that you can literally see in my body, and you see it at all in entrepreneurship and healing, that it needs to change. In my mind, it needs to be taught. Well, you've got it anyway, right? I mean, it's like my sister Caroline. She died, August 22nd, 2019. I mean, I can live every day, and I finally grieved, and I have not cried about it much lately, but it took me about 3 years to start crying about it, and it takes a while, But I was somehow able to turn that into a positive, because she believed in me more than I believed in myself, for sure. I never really did until I really started working on myself, and I realized all these things, and instinctively I was always correct. And I started taking shots at stuff, and then things started happening, and then I found out I had, then like a year and a half later, I had PTSD. But there was growth in so many different areas. I was moving around a pickleball court that I had never moved before, and certain things were happening with the guitar I couldn't believe. So it's called post-traumatic growth, and it's a very real phenomenon. And if you look at throughout history, how many great athletes have come from, Lance Armstrong won 7 straight against the level playing field. They all were using performance enhancing type, whatever it was. And it was like getting more blood platelets in your lungs, I believe it was, so you can breathe more, getting more oxygen in there of some kind. They all were doing it. So in my mind, it's a total level playing field. I don't know how you can argue that either way. The entire field, pretty much. I mean, they didn't test it. We didn't know every single one of them, but we all damn well knew. The teams were doing it. The organization, just like baseball, knew. Everybody knew that they were joking about it, and damn, they knew it. And baseball, I'm not saying to go do it, but what I'm saying is that Lance Armstrong destroyed the best in the world to begin with. I mean, I don't know how you can argue that either way. I mean, it's they were the best in the world. The field was level, and they were the best. They were the best in the field. So, and that's the way I turned it around. I thought, and it's proven, and he had trauma. He had a 40% chance of living. He had tumors all over his body. And he had a tumor in his brain, I believe. I'm pretty sure. Well, he had one in his lung. I mean, his sessions were apparently just extremely grueling. And the pain that I went through was just unimaginable pain. The alcohol peripheral neuropathy. I mean, it was torture. It was torture. It was for 2.5 months. It was torture. I couldn't do it again. I can't think of anything else that was worse, because I've had gout where I couldn't walk, and I've had a sciatic nerve. It was nothing where this stuff was so bad, and it put me in a state of shock. And luckily, I figured it out. That I was in fact having flashbacks of it, and I was getting intuition and just such an amazing things. They gave me the intuition to figure it out, and then it gave me the intuition to heal it. And it's really the truth. PTSD almost kills me, and then it gives me the intuition to heal myself. But in a sense, I think neurodivergence and dyslexic. And trying different things. For some reason, I just started trying everything. Trying so many different things in fall of 2023 for some reason. I don't know why. Well, I do know in part why. I do know partially why. But you should. But I started realizing that that I had talents for stuff. And I believe every single one of us certainly has unique talents. I can't, my athletics, but I mean, it's post-traumatic growth. I can't believe how well I move. It's just crazy. But I was always able to dance. But the problem was I was always drunk. I was always drinking, so I never really progressed and stuff. And I always had bad posture too. And those are really, really keys. Drinking kills your nervous system. And I think it'll be 4 years I haven't had one. But that right there, that's bad on your nervous system. And this is, I personally think this right here is the absolute best thing you can do to your body, personally. I mean, we were not amphibians, right? Right? I believe that's the correct word. We were not fish, right? I mean, some people believe that. I don't think we came from water. I really don't think we came from water. But at any rate, we've been doing this for a lot longer, if we did. Like this, with this size. So we were made to do this, right? We weren't made to do that, So, and yell at each other and honk the horn and whatnot, and flip people off and get other people. I mean, Anyway, people honk the horn. I just don't. It doesn't even bother me anymore. It's whatever. I referenced last year. This dude, I'm over here. I put my damn, and he comes up beside me. And he rolls and he honks and he rolled down the window, or he honked at me, and he came out in front. And this kind of when I knew it. And he's wearing this hat. He's a little bit bigger than me. He rolled down, and I walked up. He rolled down the window and he looked right at me. He said, "Take those things off. You'll." I said, "What did you just say?" And I said something. I said, "Thanks for the advice," and I kept on walking. He wouldn't have dared gotten out of that damn car. But he was completely in the wrong. Just some guy that was driving around and thinking he's some stud. But at any rate, that was about a year ago. At any rate. But you should always test yourself, right? I mean, he can't hit me from the driver's seat, can he? I don't think so. He certainly wasn't as fast as me. He wouldn't have dared get out of that damn car. It would have been a stupid thing if he did. But at any rate, most people back down anyway. He's just a loud mouth. But at any rate, that right there, I really don't miss driving a damn car. And it's been nice being able to ride MARTA and seeing different side of Atlanta, and talking with different people with different backgrounds. It really Steve Jobs said it was, he credits that his trip to India. He was in ashrams and community shelters and community bathrooms, community kitchens, and he said Indian people are much more intuitive. It's all about calming the nervous system, and you get that, and you get elite pattern recognition. And that's the key to elite sports performance, and key to stuff in business. People just, you see way too many. That's the problem with PTSD. Is you see way too many things. You see so much stuff, and then once you kind of piece it together and you calm your nervous, you learn to calm your nervous. So then you start seeing, then you start seeing patterns and everything. Because the eyes, we do work at patterns, But once you connect the dots, bam. Especially with somebody like me, that dyslexic. Once I figure something out, I've got it. And but at any rate, it's amazing. It's really the truth. PTSD almost kills me, but it gives me the intuition to do stuff. It's really the truth, and it's really it's about biomechanics and stuff. And I was always it was amazing. A great example is Greg Mannix. Think about it. And Tony Romo, two unbelievable, and they always went head to head, and they always credited each other. Neither one of them looked like great athletes to me. Neither one of them. But it's all about flow. It's all about fundamentals, and it's about they're extremely relaxed. They're extremely relaxed. They breathe, and And there is something about having a long swing, about throwing moccasins, the same damn thing. There is something about it. If you got a short swing and you're a power guy, just, there is something about it. It's about flow and rhythm. It's all about rhythm. And it's really the truth. And we work from the ground up. We work from the feet up. And, it's really the truth. And that's something I didn't concentrate enough on my feet when I played golf. But I do it all the time. I do it every single day when I walk and I do martial arts kicks and whatnot. And everybody should do it. Everybody should. I think everybody. It's better than yoga, and yoga's awesome. It is. It really is. Well, I shouldn't. Well, I think so. I really do. Builds confidence. Anyway.